Welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are building the city of Verde Beach. And thank you all so much for joining today. It's been a while since I've had a live stream, and there's a number of reasons for that, but I'm glad to finally have the opportunity to do it again. So, a couple of things. I have completely changed my setup, so I want to know if it sounds okay for you guys. Is it too loud? Both me and the music. I think the music might be a little bit loud. And then I have fiber now, finally. So I just want to know if everything looks good for you guys. Music's too loud. So you guys are a little bit behind me. So that's one of the struggles. But I'll turn it down a little bit and hopefully it's good. So today, what we have on... Oh, music too loud, music too loud. Mic is too quiet. All right, let's see. I'll turn myself up. I'll turn the music down, and hopefully we're good now. Hopefully we're good now. We'll try now. Oh, now it looks like I turned it off completely. So hopefully. Huh. All right, hopefully it's a little bit better now. Okay, looks good, better, music perfect now, voice a bit low. All right, there we go. It's always tough because you guys, for whatever reason, are about 20 seconds behind me. So when I'm looking, it's just a little bit off. So anyway, what we're gonna do today is work on phase 6 and 7 of this development back here. So let me get to daytime and we'll show you what we're looking at. So that is right here. We've got phase 6B, phase 7, and we are going to build a little bit of a petting zoo back here in phase 6B. We're gonna have a residential area near phase 7, and then this area has been slated for commercial basically as long as this has been planned. So it's going to be a fun one. And then I want to go through, there have been a number of things in the comments that I've been seeing about the builds. Oh, music's gone. I can't get it right today. So that's the game plan for today, but I want to know, and this will help me figure out just how far behind you, far behind me you all are. Where's everyone coming at from today? Where are you guys all at today? Voice too high, music too low. I'm sorry, James. I'm sorry. Grayson, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. And let's see. Drop in the comments where you guys are all at today, and what time it is for you guys, because I'm very curious about that. So this is an interesting time for me to be streaming. I've never streamed in the middle of the day like this, and it seems like it's a great time for Europe. Hopefully it's okay in Asia. I guess I'm not 100% sure what time it is right now. Let's see, Poland, Montreal, Denver, Missouri, Finland, New York City, Netherlands, Cambridge, Denver, DC, UK, New Orleans, the Bronx, Austria rather. Emily, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. Green Bay, wonderful city. Wisconsin, love all the Wisconsinites in here. Brazil. Smolin, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. Wassa will always have a special place in my heart, Ethan. Australia, 5 a.m. Adam, you're a madman. I appreciate you being here. Calgary, Madison, got a Madison, another Madisonian in here, so I love it. Love it so much. So I've been following the comments. So I guess maybe I should give you guys an update as far as why everything's been slow for me lately. So I moved, if you guys didn't know that. I'm still in Madison, but I moved. And that's been like a work in progress for about the last year. So it's certainly been a trying time the last couple of months. You don't realize how much garbage you accumulate until you move, after you've owned a home already. And then I feel like most of our move has been actually eliminating things. So it's been an interesting time. Florida, Slovakia, Germany, Illinois, love it. Indonesia, 1 a.m. You are a night owl, just like me. So now that I'm finally moved, things are finally settling down. I'm almost unpacked. I have an office with a window now, which is really, really nice. And I was able to separate my Mac and PC setups. So in the past, I've been switching between my Mac and PC, my editing. I edit in Final Cut, and then I record on a PC, obviously, so I go back and forth. And now I have them side by side, which has been really, really nice. And instead of using a capture card, I am recording right on the graphics card. And my game plan is to actually set up a separate streaming PC down the line. So we will see. Hurley, Wisconsin. Love it. Love it. I might need that later. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do in phase 6B. And what I'm thinking, first of all, I think I missed a couple of messages. Nerdic, thank you for becoming an associate planner. And Mehmet, 22 months. You are awesome. Turkey, 9 p.m. This is a good time then. Good time. Very good. All right. So what we're going to do is build a petting zoo here. We've got this old school zoo asset, and I just kept racking my brain. What do we do with this thing? So let's find that asset quickly, and then I'll show you what I'm thinking. This might be under 1. So first of all, I do want to use the bird and bee haven. So I'm going to set a couple of these off to the side, and then we will talk about how we place them. Right here. So this zoo. And this might seem totally useless now that we have a full zoo with park life, but I think that we can do some interesting things here. So we're gonna definitely work this in. I want to use some of the park life assets too. Now, because this is vanilla, we've got some interesting limitations. Basically, we can only place those assets on roads. So I'll have to go ahead and take these, and anything I use from this, which will be just a couple of things. It's not a huge space. We've got to have it on a road. So we're gonna have to think about our placement there. So I'm gonna lay this out right here. And I know a couple of things. I came in and I messed around a bit. I'm going to get rid of this power line, and we'll use the zoo as the actual jumping mechanism there. We don't actually need this right now. And so get rid of this, and then we'll talk about the layout. So I want to have parking at the front. This is a very suburban area, and for better or for worse, I think that would be something that would be completely necessary. Faye, 20 gifted memberships. Thank you so much for that. If you do not have gifted memberships enabled, I would highly recommend to do so. Later on, probably tomorrow when I get the next Clearwater County episode out, I will be posting a link to the community tab. And anyone who is a YouTube member will have access to Vimeo, where I post the videos early and they're ad-free. So it's a nice little perk there. So thank you so much, Vay, for gifting those memberships. So kind of you. You are just awesome. Michael, thank you so much for the super chat. Hello from Lucca, Italy. Currently planning to move to Verde Beach at 7 p.m. here. Love it. Thank you so much again. Thanks for supporting the channel. So what we're going to do, first of all, I want to look at the contours. So we could either work with the contours or work against the contours. With this kind of development, I would fully expect that we would do whatever we need to do to make this work. Early birds only this time. You snooze, you lose, Vay. I love it. Love it. That is awesome. Dante, thank you so much for the super chat. You and Biffett have made me so much better in the game. My girlfriend gives me crap for meticulously putting water pipes underneath the roads. You know what? She's probably excellent and right about most things, but this one thing, she's got to give this one to you. Water pipes belong underneath the road. All right, so what I'm thinking is I want to align the zoo with this road, but we need to have a parking lot as well. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm using this road very specifically. It has wide sidewalks and no parking, and we're going to add parking in front of this. And this isn't going to be the most complicated place in the world. In fact, maybe I'll show you where I got this idea from. So basically, there's this place in Minocqua, Wisconsin, called Jim Peck's. Minocqua is the other city on an isthmus in Wisconsin. It's right here. It's very, very small, but they have this place called Jim Peck's Wildlife Sanctuary. It's a place I went to as a kid. It's a place I brought my kids, And basically, it's a petting zoo. You can go and pet deer. You can pet, or you can go into a bird sanctuary, kind of like the one that's in the zoo. And there's a lot of trails you can walk through here. It's just a really pleasant place to be. It's not that expensive. And it's just, it's a really, if you go to Minocqua, I'd say and you have kids, it's a place to go. Holy cow. Thank you so much for becoming an associate planner, Mannix. And Lucas Walls, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, CPP, have you checked out Richmond, Virginia? Love living here. It's so much inspiration. I have not, but that's a place that I've heard great things about. I will check it out. And Stan, thank you so much for the 5 gifted members. That is awesome. So yes, Ethan, Jim Pex is the best. Yes. So I'm glad that it's not just me who's been there. That's in this chat. So this is what I'm thinking, something along the lines of this. It's a vanilla game, so I don't know that we're going to really come up with something that is this detailed, but we can capture the spirit of it in the game. So that is what I'm thinking here. So in that same vein, we're going to have parking right here using our lovely parking lot asset that we come up with. So I'm going to place this here, and then we're going to block this off with some landscaping and make this feel like it's in the middle of a forest. So we'll have our parking right here. And we are going to work in both the zoo, the bird and bee haven, and then I'm thinking that we add in the birdhouse and the moose and reindeer enclosure. What do you guys think about that? Marcus, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. Burlington, Vermont, walkable waterfront, love it. Not sure if I'd want to go to a petting zoo that has the name Pex. Yeah. Funny story about that. So there's someone in my family that is like just actually multiple people that don't like birds. And I could imagine that being, going to a place called Jim Pex and going to the birdhouse. Not a great thing. I should look at Arizona in Williams, Arizona. I'll take a look at that. Daughter just had a petting zoo. Oh, that's awesome, Stan. That is awesome. Yeah. So interestingly, we've had terrible weather lately. So I was supposed to go on a field trip with my daughter's class, and that was called off. So we had a snow day, and then I was supposed to come in for February. So basically, they get African-American parents to come in and read a book and talk about their experiences and whatnot. So I was going to come in, and that was another snow day. So I'm starting to feel like I am cursed, like I'm the reason why all of the school's getting called off. And let's see, Marcus, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. And that Diego guy, you must be pretty excited about Amtrak service coming to Madison. What are our thoughts on their new expansion plans? I have many thoughts about it, and you may know that, you may not. My thoughts are basically that it shouldn't be controversial to bring rail to a city the size of Madison. And I think it's really unfortunate that it has kind of become a controversial political subject. And if you're in Wisconsin, you're well aware of this. I mean, that's just kind of the way it's become. Rail is something that it's a form of transportation. It's a form of regional transportation. And we shouldn't just rely 100% on cars and planes to get places, especially when it's so efficient to have other modes of transportation like trains. We've already got the tracks there. We could enhance our freight network by having Amtrak built there. So it's really unfortunate that it's becoming a controversial thing. I really like the plans. I mean, they're talking about in the upwards of 6 to 8 trains a day, and station locations that could be really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. Angela, thank you for becoming an associate planner. And Smolin, what do you think is going to burn down this stream? I bet you something already has. When I was just kind of messing around before the stream, this whole neighborhood burnt down. So makes me think that maybe I've missed something in terms of fire coverage. Biffa, thanks for joining. Good to see you here, Biffa. And Henry and Keith, thank you so much for becoming associate planners. All right. So what we're going to do is place our zoo now. And I have real mixed emotions about what we're going to do right now, because I would love to just have paths through here, but we can't do that. So we're going to need to extend roads through this place. And I'd love to go with a dirt road, but they have parking. So you're likely going to go, oh, why is he using these normal paved roads? But I feel like I have to. I feel like I'm kind of being pushed that way in the vanilla game, and it's going to be completely fine. Mr. Bassins, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. All right, so I am going to level the terrain a bit, and then I might even get rid of some of these trees because we're going to redo it down the line anyway. So we will cross that bridge in just a moment. And hopefully, so I'm experiencing a little bit of lag. Hopefully it's not too bad. I'm seeing with OBS, I'm spiking at like 19%. One of the things that I've changed is now that I am again using OBS on a PC, I've kicked my graphics up to 4K, and it's much more taxing. So hopefully it's okay. Isaiah loves Biffa, Overcharged Egg, and CPP. Thank you. Absolutely some of the very best, in my opinion. I'm not biased at all. I mean, Biffa. I think everyone loves Biffa. If you like watching City Skylines on YouTube, I mean, Biffa's the OG. Everyone owes a debt of gratitude to him. So always appreciate that. Now Verde Beach doesn't have any DLCs. No, Verde Beach has every single DLC. No lag, good. No parking, keeps it pedestrianized. Well, so you have to look at the context of where we're building. I mean, we are in the suburbs, like just very much in the suburbs. Now, I do agree. We've got to provide options here. And this is where, I got to check my idealism, because I agree. In my perfect world, everyone has the opportunity to get everywhere using a form of transit that is not, they're getting around in a way other than a car. I mean, I purposely chose where I live because I have the ability to walk to everything I would need. Everything from a dentist to a grocery store to a coffee shop. I can walk to literally everything and be there in 5 minutes, park for my kids, a place to see some water, a little bit of everything. And so I agree. But at the same time, we are out in the middle of nowhere. So I think that if this were real, they would approach us from a viability standpoint. And truthfully, so I watched this video by Adam something recently where he identified a couple of reasons that basically buildings are being built that are boring. And I even commented on the video that he missed one thing, and that is banks. So banks are very hardcore about parking. And so I've talked to developers and they've been on board with reducing their parking, but then the bank says, oh, your development is not going to be viable without parking. And as a result, the only way we're going to fund it is if you build a whole bunch of parking. In some cases, they want more parking than the minimums. And even in downtown context, it's ridiculous. But the bankers are driving the finances in some cases. So, and I'm not sure if that's like that in Europe or other places, but it's definitely the case here where, if you can't get funding, you're kind of out of luck. So that's kind of where we're at. And while I'm thinking about it, this is totally Adam something. Oh my God, I was radicalized well before Adam something. That was planning school. I recall my first planning class being like, holy cow, like this is why everything is like this. Wow. But there's always a little bit more to think about. So, but I wanted to talk about one thing real quick, and you guys are going to really, unless you're on a 4K display right now, you're going to really struggle to see this, but I'm going to Control L to look at our city's internal limits using, I'm trying to think of the mod. CSL and all. There's a mod that lets you see your internal limits, and I have to thank B Squigglehausen. So B Squigglehausen was in the Discord and mentioned that he noticed in the previous build that some of the trucks were spawning without their trailers. So kind of like this. So this semi right here has its trailer on the back. He noticed that they were spawning without it, And it was after I placed all of the oil tankers. So I hit the vehicle limit. So because of that, we were going to run into some issues with the build. It could have tanked us. So I'm really happy that he pointed that out. What I've done is added the more vehicles mod. So this is a mod that I can't come back from. I've added it, and it just is what it is at this point. To keep Verde Beach going, we had to do it. Otherwise, we were hitting the limit whenever we had a large call for goods or things of that nature. So yeah, it's one of those things that we had to add, but I owe B. Squigglehausen a huge debt of gratitude. So I wanna, if you are a channel member, give a real MVP to B. Squigglehausen, and if you're not, give a heart, because this series would be done otherwise. So really pretty wild. And Al Demetrius, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. That is awesome. And Dante, yes, the banks. It's always the banks. It really is. Money runs the world. Even if the very best plans can be killed by a lack of funding. So that's one of those unfortunate realities that we have to deal with. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna place this. I'm thinking right here, and then we'll have some of our other uses off to the side here. And I'm a little nervous that I have made it impossible to place the Bird and Bee Sanctuary, or the Bird and Bee Haven. It's a large asset. So I want that back here. We'll have to see if we can still fit it in there. There we go. I love it. The MVPs, the hearts, B. Squigglehausen. Just absolutely epic to notice that. So I actually posted a picture of it in the Discord too. So I apologize. I have not been in the Discord as much as I would like to as of recently, or I should say before recently. I've been lurking again, but it certainly wasn't. I haven't been in there as much as I used to be, and a lot of that comes down to a couple of things, and it's mainly the move. But I've also been really getting into editing, which has been fun, and it's been taking a lot of time. Max, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. Really appreciate the support of the channel. It means a lot. So yeah, I've been doing a lot more with editing, and I think I've enjoyed making the videos more recently as a result of editing a little bit more. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying that. James, thank you for being here. Hopefully you have a good rest of your day. Let's see. How did I disable the pollution effect on the maps? Hide it. So I use hide it, or I believe it's hide it in this one. I've been going through, let me see. Yeah, we're using hide it in this one. So if you get hide it, you can disable the pollution. Looks a little bit better. And so in the remaster on console too, you can change some of that stuff, which is kind of fun. Let's see. John asks if I did the city planning route through civil engineering, architecture, or neither. So I have two different halves of my planning education. The first part was in undergrad. I went to one of the few schools that had a certified undergrad for planning. So that was Cal State in Northridge. I went there for a little bit, and then I finished back up at Wisconsin. During the Great Recession, I ended up in a spot where I was in LA, and things got real bad. The unemployment rate, I want to say, hit like 13% or something ridiculous. And I lost my job, and I got offered an opportunity. Basically they said I could go to the Philippines to train people in Manila at the call center I was working at. I was working at a video on demand company. So if you've been to Vegas or like the Four Seasons Hotel, and you had one of those set-top boxes in your room where you can watch movies or other things, I worked at the company that had those boxes, and I would repair the boxes. So I would, desolder the caps in there and solder new ones, and then I would answer people's questions. So with the exception of the cap replacement, all of the phone stuff could be outsourced a lot cheaper. So I ended up having my job outsourced. Told me I could go there. I decided not to. I talked to my now wife, and I said, what do I do? Oh boy, there's Putin again. Thank you for becoming an associate planner, for being an associate planner for 2 months. So yeah, It was kind of a weird time. And I ended up coming back to Wisconsin, finishing up my degree. The school I was at wouldn't let me finish my degree without an internship. And I couldn't do an intern. I mean, at that point in time, all internships were basically 100%. You donate your time, which I think should be illegal if I'm being completely upfront with you. I think it's incredibly morally dubious. But it was where I was at. And I ended up coming back to Wisconsin where I could, the cost of living is just not comparable. And came back, finished up my degree, and immediately found out that I couldn't find a job. So I ended up going to grad school in Colorado. So that's kind of the story of me and my planning career. Let's see. Came home from class to a CPP stream. Let's go. Thank you so much for being here. 33 miles, Anthony. Appreciate that. Love all your work. The one thing that drives me. Yeah. So I've been thinking, and so I wonder, can I rotate this around to make it accessible? I can. So I was thinking about actually going and making this asset more detailed. And that's something I'm still kind of thinking about. Oh, unpaid internships. Spatial says that unpaid architectural internships are illegal. Yeah, that's great. I ended up with one of the few paid internships in Denver when I was there, and I felt really fortunate. I ended up, so it's interesting. I worked at RTD, which is the Regional Transit District in Denver. Very prestigious internship. I felt very, very fortunate to have the opportunity. And I noticed Phil Washington. Phil Washington was the GM at RTD while I was there. So RTD ran the light rail system, the bus system, and I worked there. I put together the map that was on all of the circulators and light rail for a while. I ended up doing a major revision to it. And for years, that was my work that was there. Probably not anymore. I haven't been to Denver in a while. But Phil Washington was there. Awesome guy. And I just happened to be listening to, I asked my Google Home, play the news, and his picture came up. Apparently he was nominated to head the Federal Aviation Administration after leaving Metro in Los Angeles. So it's pretty wild. Let's see. Grayson, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, CPP, I remembered something about Clearwater County if you don't mind me rambling about it. Sure, but I lost this. I'm going to need everyone to help me find that message. Brian, going to be in Wisconsin next week to see family. Any tips for that? Where in Wisconsin, Brian? If you are going to be in the Madison area, first of all, you're going to get some good weather, so that's good. I would definitely say check out State Street, check out downtown, go to the Old Fashioned, get some cheese curds. I love Tipsy Cow on King Street. If you want to go there and get a burger, awesome. Lots of great things to do around here, though. Lots of great things. It's kind of a weird time though because the ice is melting. The family says, I worked at RTD. I worked at RTD for like a year. The only reason I stopped working at RTD was that I ended up getting a job at a consulting firm and doing work for RTD at the consulting firm. So kind of an interesting, what defines a winter coat, Brian? Right now, you can get away with a lot. My daughter actually came home and said that all the kids had their jackets off the other day. It was 51 degrees. So good enough. How was the winter storm? The winter storm for us was pretty mild. We had an ice storm, which stunk, but we didn't get the snow. And then the most recent round, the one that gave California all the snow, came to us 100% as rain. So the biggest thing is that we were at risk for flooding, but it was all right. So Ethan asked what my thoughts of Charlie Barron's are. My thoughts of Charlie Barron's are that you should all definitely check out his new special that he posted on YouTube. If you're not familiar with Charlie Barron's, it's basically his greatest hits. And Charlie's awesome. I think he's hilarious. Some of his comedy I think is more funny if you are from the upper Midwest, but I do think that just universally, if you want to understand me a little bit more, Charlie can help. Marty, greetings from the Philippines. Hello, thank you for being here. Michael says, remember that 50 degrees in a winter coat and hat and gloves? That's true. I remember when I lived in LA, everyone throwing on their winter coats when it got to 60 at night. So I totally get that. Can I add a National Guard, please? Not to this build. It's really a challenge in vanilla. I don't know how I would do that. I did add something similar in Clearwater County. It's possible in a build like that. It's very challenging here. Let's see. Hey, Phil, on Clearwater County, can you run an interstate from Van Buren to Fairchild with a direct connection to the Fairchild Airport? I've been thinking about that. It's funny that you mentioned Clearwater County. So my intention was to actually edit Clearwater County today, but I tried to load it up and I ended up getting this error. It was this array error. Basically, I've been using building themes and Biffa said to stop and I didn't listen. And I should have listened to Biffa because he was right. I was practicing my build and it's going to be out of left field. You're not going to expect the build that we're going to have. I think it'll be a little nostalgic for people. It was nostalgic for me. I was really excited to do it. That said, I was in the middle of the build and I was really pleased with how it was coming out. And all of a sudden I couldn't place anything anymore. I got a bunch of errors and it was building themes, giving me some array errors, details, none. And then I couldn't do anything. So I had to go through and replace building themes with districts plus, and then try to remember what I had in every single one of those districts, and then go and kind of rectify and fix it after the fact. So it was kind of a trick to be able to go back and figure out exactly where all of that stuff should go. And then I had buildings that were spawning, some vanilla buildings coming in, and I'll tell you, vanilla buildings look pretty terrible in Clearwater County. But I think I finally have it fixed. The loading times are dramatically improved for me, which is good. I think that if you watch my last stream, I talked about all the RAM I had. Basically, I had a computer that I built for my kids and I stole the RAM because Clearwater County was taking so long to load. So I was rocking 128 gigs of RAM, which is just ridiculous. And then I was able to actually play it at a reasonable speed. Or load in at a reasonable speed. And now I can, with my 64, do all right. Grayson, you ended up changing the name of Fairchild because people said it wasn't an attractive fort. But remember that Fort Worth, Texas was a good example of what you wanted. Yeah, that's a good point. Lucas, so thank you so much for the support, Grayson. I really appreciate it. Lucas, possibility of a Joy build style transit audit soon. Yeah, I love what Joy did. That was a really smart. So I think Clearwater County is a tough one because I don't think that we're ever going to have a ton of transit in some of those communities, but I think that we should have more than we currently have. Yes, a stream that's not 2 a.m. Yeah. Building themes is giving you that's MTS says, wait, building themes is giving me all those errors. Yes, it's building themes. I've heard, or based on my research, it might be building themes plus advanced level control if you have that one installed. I do have that personally because I wanted to be able to increase the leveling of some of these, and apparently the two of them together can really mess things up. And reasonably, it looks like building themes is not going to be updated, so I don't know that you'd want to keep it in anyway. The districts plus is being updated slowly, but it is being updated. Rashid, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. Thank you so much. And Sandy, thank you so much. 13 months, Jakarta, Indonesia. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Make Kakana, Wisconsin. I really love the Appleton area. I love that when you go there, every one of those little cities has so much character, and it's all because there are so many different places kind of just coming together. This is a good time for Dubai too. Awesome, awesome. So it'd be 10:35 at night, 10:35 p.m. Awesome, that is great. All right, so thank you so much, Glauco. Glauco, I want to say that's hopefully that's right. Hopefully that's right. Thanks for the content you put out. You are awesome. A question in your real life planning career, how many times did politics that was necessary to get things done? Was the overall experience dealing with politics a positive one? Ah, this is a great question. So to get big things done, you need money. And the only way you get money is politics. The elected officials give you the money you need to get things done. They're the ones who are directing you to do things. So as the planner, I'll give an example of my previous job. So I worked in a suburban community, and we're working on a comprehensive plan. So the comprehensive plan lays out the vision for the entire community. It's everything that the community, basically every square inch of the city is laid out. Some areas on the periphery that could come into the city, the major arterials and collector roads, not the local roads; those are left to the development community. And then major city-owned infrastructure, park space, things of those nature, things of that nature. So working on that, you put all these things in to the plan. Lots and lots of things that maybe you think are a good idea as the planner. And then you go to a committee which has elected officials and citizens, and some of those ideas are whittled out. But even if it makes it through the process, and let's say it gets approved at the committee, and then it goes to the city council and they approve it, you still need funding. So everything gets political at that point. Now, I've worked with some politicians that have been an absolute joy to work with, and every time I've interacted with them, it's been a positive experience. There are some that I consider friends, and then there are others that you just constantly feel like they're on the wrong side of every issue. It is what it is, though. I mean, here's the thing. You might not like the way that the elected official is representing an issue, but they are representing their constituents. And I know that at the local level, what you can end up with is officials that are looking out for their specific constituents in a very specific way. And that can be very, very, very frustrating. But that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to look out for their representatives. I would love it if all elected officials were a little bit, they would zoom out a bit more and focus on the macro and not just the micro, but it's okay. It is what it is. Got 1,500 watching right now. Holy cow. So let's see. I missed a couple of these. So basically, yes, politics has definitely gotten in the way. It's also been very helpful. When things have gotten done, it's because the political winds have kind of swung in a direction that is super favorable. And an example, in a year, I went from begging Walmart and Target to allow me to get people to park in their parking lot as a park and ride, to building a park and ride, basically overnight. I had 2 acres of land dedicated to the project because the political winds were there. I ended up putting fiber internet at the park and ride so that everyone could access the internet on their phones while they were waiting in the shelters. 2 spots for a shelter. Plumbed it for a future restroom facility, which opens it up to have bus rapid transit in the future. Security and surveillance system, just a really high quality facility. And that's because the political winds were there. So politics it's a weird thing. If it's going against you, it's really can stink. If it's going in your favor, man, it can be awesome. So that's how I feel. Eric, thank you so much for the super chat. Love hearing your stories, just to make sure that you're careful when giving out details. Yeah, I know that is certainly a thing. And I have been, people, I've seen people in reality, people have found me. So I'm definitely careful about some things and less so about others. There's a fine line though. So I appreciate that. Let's see. Jeannie's Lamp. Keep up the good work. I'm about to start my career at Baton Rouge in emergency management doing mitigation grants. That is awesome. That is awesome. Good luck. I'm glad that you, I mean, that's a very important career. Great work. And I'm glad you're here for the live stream. And thank you so much for the support. And Grant McKenzie, great to finally catch a live stream here in Scotland. Love the videos. Get yourself a beer. Thank you so much. Any recommendations, Grant? I'm definitely down. What is the current uptime? Delete the wall. I can't delete this wall. This wall is here because every now and then we will get a surge of water and it would flood the zoo out. So we put this here, I don't know, 30 or 40 episodes ago because of that. The only reason this area is dry at all is this wall. So if we were to get rid of that, it'd be a really big problem. Let's see. Johan, thank you so much for being here. Happy to have content. I'm happy that you're on the live stream, and this will be available as a video on demand if you want to catch the beginning too. And this is a good time for British fans. Any elder care in the community? There are some. There's definitely some. Corey, thank you for becoming an associate planner. Yeah, we have elder care right here, so we're in a good spot with this. So I think we have most of what I want here. The one thing I want to focus on, two things. I think we need taxi service and transit service over here. Could a wall possibly look better? The wall wouldn't work, unfortunately. Jojo. Suggestion, looping the parking lot around the road like the other one. Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. We have a node issue here. So this is one of those things that like in a vanilla game is really frustrating, but we can deal with that. We just delete that road, we'll force it in there, and then we will turn this around. There we go. Thank you for that suggestion, Jojo. That was a good one. Greetings from Italy. Greetings, Mateo. Thank you for being here. Could I put the bounce house and food truck plaza in between the parking lot and the flood wall? Oh, like right here? I like that idea. A little park, a little place where parents could, I like the idea of it kind of being a bit of a beer garden type of place. Thank you for being chill way for my wife and I to spend our night together. Kitty, thank you so much. That is awesome. It's funny. Your wife has probably watched more of the channel than mine has. I kind of appreciate that though. For me, it might be awkward if my wife watched the channel. Funny story. My brother-in-law, and if he's on here, hello. He on a family vacation, he wanted to show everyone the channel. So we watched Tutoria episode 1 together, and it was very awkward. I don't think I've ever had a more awkward time with my father-in-law. I think he finally gets it now a little bit, but maybe not. I don't know. Callum, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. Welcome. Ford Bronco. Those new Ford Broncos look pretty good. What up? Let's see. Watching from Russia, studying medicine here. It's a relief watching you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Hopefully you're okay. Let's see. I will share the live. Is Eggsy here? I keep seeing Eggsy's name in the comments. I don't know if Eggsy's here, but that would be awesome. Yeah, beer garden, kids playground. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it. So I'm just going to add in a little bit of we'll go through, and we've got all of these new tiles. Let me turn this off. So let's see what we have available, and I always misplace these. So we have the decals. Where am I missing? I'm just not finding them. What am I doing wrong? Are they back here? So here's half the stuff. Okay, here's some of them. But these are the ones from the mid-century modern. And I'm thinking of, let me see. I want some of the red ones. So maybe those are, maybe that's the zoo. Yeah, this is what I'm thinking of. What map is Verde Beach? Pearl Bay. And I want to say it's from the Industries DLC. Let's see. There's a Hawaiian lager called Longboard that I discovered during COVID lockdown. Also, a Norwegian passion fruit ale called Lorita. If you can get any, I highly recommend it. I'll look for those. Yeah, the place I go to for beer has a very good selection, a lot of imports. So definitely would like to check that out. Let's add in, rather than sticking it right on the road, which is pretty uncomfortable, we'll add in a path back here and we won't. Oh, no. Did I just? Oh boy, I did not mean to do that. All right, so we're gonna have a tornado because I inadvertently set a tornado off on the build that I just put together. So that's definitely a bummer. I think we might just wait for this to pass before I even try to build this, and I'll read a couple of chats. Dante, thank you so much for the super chat. I wish the council the option to install real parking lots or that tree line tool with the move it tool. It would be nice. Yeah, so that was the funny thing. So I don't know if it was super clear, but I was the one who recorded some of the footage for the City Skylines remaster. I built a couple of cities on Xbox Series X, and I used the mouse and keyboard. There were things about the console that I really appreciated and things that I thought were kind of frustrating. So, but one of the obviously prop line tool that was a miss, as was not being able to have parking lots. So yeah, I definitely I feel you there. 3 miles, Anthony. I heard Madison's getting his first BRT line. What do I think of it? I think it's going to be great. I think it's one of those things that until it's there, people aren't really going to get it. And it's going to be really exciting to see people embrace it, because I think it's going to be embraced. The frequencies that we're going to see in some of these areas, I mean, during the peak period, there's going to be a bus in some areas every 5 minutes. You won't even have to think about it. It's just going to be there. And that's the way it was when I was in Denver, and I absolutely loved it. Never thought about when I was going to get on the bus. I just hopped on. Scuffed legit. Your voice is ASMR to me. Thank you for the naps. Thank you for, you know what? Keep the videos running. That's fine. That works for me. And where is this tornado? Come on, tornado. Just get out of here. I just want it to go away. And let's see. So thank you all for the support. And then let's see. The next one was Astro G Nash. F in the chat for Dorothy. We're not in Kansas anymore. Or we won't be in just a minute. I can't believe I set a tornado off on the thing I'm building. That is just... Yeah. Scuff legit. Thank you so much. Better tornado. Better tornado. Am I right? Yes. You know what? Or tornado. It could be worse. It could be worse. It could be an earthquake, level 10 or something. You know, that would be way worse. Yep, here it is. Here it is. Where's it gonna go? Okay, so we might just hit the Layman Institute and destroy that instead. Yeah, Denver's public transit is good. It is good. If there's anything I miss about Denver, it's the public I mean, there's a lot that I miss about Denver. Not just the public transit, the people, the green chilies. Yeah, bye durability test. Yeah. We're gonna see. Louise, you're falling asleep and listening to the videos for 8 hours straight. I appreciate that. Bailey, what are my thoughts on the public tram line running through Oshkosh, through the Fox Cities and up to Green Bay? I think you're talking about Amtrak. So it's interesting. I've heard a lot of rumors about that, and oh jeez, I think it would be good. You got to remember, game day is not that many times out of the year, though. So I think that if the Packers and game day are the impetus for getting the train implemented, I'll take it. But I mean, we're really talking about if we're really talking about the Packers, that's what, 8-9 days out of the year. So, all right in the, yeah, that's a bummer. Here we are. They're just hanging out here. So it ruined the parking lot. The zoo is going to be safe. The bird and bee sanctuary looks like it might be safe. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Let's see. Dante, what do you think about the March 6th announcement? What do I think the March 6th announcement is going to be? I think that we are all hoping it's the same thing, and we will see. They're announcing 3 games, so but as soon as Colossal Order was announced, obviously I think my ears perked up like everyone else's. So I'm definitely excited to see what it's going to be. I'll be there watching it just like the rest of you. Corey, thank you so much for the support. I'm curious how you feel about the full sequel. I appreciate the tons of DLC, but I'm really itching for an updated game engine. I am too. So I've got kind of a monster of a computer, and I struggle with this game sometimes. I would love to be able to have a smooth, consistent, I don't think 60 FPS is asking too much. Not in 2023. So I would hope that they updated. I mean, you look at some of these updated game engines, and I thought it was done. Oh, jeez. Oh boy. Well, this is a twist. It's gone. All right. So to fix the damage, we'll have to wait for search and rescue. Wow. All right. Well, we're gonna roll with this. We're gonna figure it out. Bailey, thank you so much for the super chat. Someone keeps asking me about the Holzman Bridge. Let me see. I will look that up on my. I'm gonna open up a tab so I can see it. Or Holers. I don't speak German. I wish I did. Bridge. Let's see. And I am super curious. So let's just take a look at this. Wow. That is a very attractive train bridge. It's very cool. Very cool. Yes, very cool. Love it. Let's see. Only streams. Yeah, this disaster was different though. I've never accidentally set off my own disaster. That's totally an unforced error. So yeah. Hohenzollern Bridge. Hohenzollern. Is that right? Yeah, there goes some skyscrapers. So I'll wait for the repairs to occur, and then we'll that is one way to say something about you've built. Yeah, just absolutely destroying it. All right, we already get to rebuild some of this. Rebuild our parking lot. Everything's good. I'm very pleased. Oh. Everything is bad. Everything is ruined. Well, we will get to our beer garden. The other thing I want to implement over here is I want a taxi stand, and I think the only taxi depot that we have is over in Fiddy's district. So we're gonna need to add some of those as well. Grayson, I wanted to ask you this on behalf of Javen because I'm curious too. Have you ever discovered a sinkhole or natural cave during a project? No, those aren't very common in my area. They do happen, obviously, but I haven't been a part of one of those. The only sinkholes that have impacted things that I've worked on or areas that I've been in have been due to water leaks. You find those a lot in the winter. They'll end up being better than a tsunami. Miles, you're right. Yeah, you'll find those in the winter when you have a water main break that you could have a sinkhole. So that's kind of the one. Seth Webb, thank you so much for the support. This is reminding me of the tornado that struck OKC a few days ago. We had 3 in 1 hour. I didn't hear about that. Holy cow. 3 tornadoes. I'm gonna have to look that up. I had no idea. And I've got a OKC tornadoes. I apologize. I'm taking a bit of a detour. We're gonna look at the Oklahoman. I had no idea. Well, I'm really sorry to hear that. That is wild. Yeah, it seems like, I mean, just natural disasters recently. And one of the things I want to do soon is we haven't had we haven't had any sort of fundraising effort in a while, and I want to have a fundraising effort for Turkey. I mean, the disasters there have been absolutely terrible. And one of the things about having a platform like this is I think that you should use it for good. So I want to do that. I've been vetting different things. I just want to make sure that wherever we're directing money, I can actually trust it. And you guys are putting your trust in me. I want to make sure that I'm a good steward of that trust. So that is a thing that that's going to be happening soon. I'm working on it. But there's just disasters everywhere right now. It's just wild. It's been, so obviously this is not nearly as dramatic as the things happening elsewhere, but we had over the last week, we had 3 school days off from ice storms, which I just can't ever recall that being a thing. Maybe I'm just not old enough. Who knows? Although I feel like I'm getting there now. So Brian, thank you so much for the super chat. That is very, very generous of you. That is, yeah, thank you so much. That is awesome. I'm repairing the roads manually because you have to, which stinks. But it's fine. And then we've got these buildings, the ones with the blue symbols. We have to I think we have to delete those ones ourselves. The nice thing is you don't have to select the road, but you've got to be you don't have to select the road that was damaged, but you've got to be really careful. So I'm just going through with this 4-lane collector and just upgrading all of these. But if I'm not careful, I can inadvertently upgrade all the roads with the wrong roads. It's a measured risk, but it's working out okay so far. I'm sure I'll screw one up, although I feel like I'm getting close. I just can't tell anymore what's what. Brian, thank you so much for the support. Have you ever used a Texas U-turn no, I have not. But I've been thinking about it. I was looking, actually, the other day I was looking them up. There have been a couple of things that I've been looking up. And I talked about Yumble a little bit. I want to use some of Yumble's assets in Clearwater County for the highway. So I've been looking at that and seeing what I could work in. But then I've also looked at the Texas U-turn myself because I am curious. You know, Nicolay Bay, I added in that terrible interchange and it functions really well. And it makes me wonder what else I can get away with in City Skylines. Vainglorious had a tornado warning here last night. Nothing actually came of it. Today could be another round though. Hopefully you're all right. That's pretty scary. And I hope that you're okay. All right, so I'm gonna try to upgrade the rest of these. I think some of these, like this is a park, so I can rebuild it. And we're getting there. It takes a little bit. And then all the paths are broken too. So that is another place where we've got to fix these things, but we're almost there. I feel like we got away with one. Yeah, Biffa did leave Rystorm. Biffa had to go eat. I'm not sure what time it is in the UK, but I'm guessing probably like 6 p.m. And yeah, no, I did start, Dylan, I didn't start early. I started right on time, I think. Hopefully I did. Imagine if you love the city and the car-free island. Yes, that, we're going to be coming back to that, but we are taking a bit of a detour. So how have you guys, and I'm curious, the Abandoned City series, I initially wanted it to be a one-off, and I intended for it to be a one-off. And then there was too much to fix. So I decided to make it a few episodes. And I see comments saying, oh, I missed the normal series. But then I see others saying it's refreshing. For me, it's been refreshing. And the reason why I put that together is the deeper I've got into making storylines and scripting for the series, the longer the episodes have taken to put together. And it's I've been very, very busy with the move, obviously, and it's been nice to have something that's a little less from a scripting standpoint, a little less intense. That said, I'm getting back to it. Let's see. Jaden, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Near me is a triangular three-way junction, which you come from a blind spot into a 35-degree angle. I presume this isn't normal. That is not normal. That is not normal at all. That sounds absolutely terrifying. Hopefully they resolve that at some point. And I hope it's not the kind of situation that it ends up being too often, which is one where as long as nothing bad happens, they're not going to fix it. That, unfortunately, that happens all too often. No reason to fix it if there's no reason to fix it, if that makes any sense. Grayson, 5 months as an associate planner. Thank you so much. Would love to see a disc golf course added to the build. That is an excellent idea. There are disc golf courses all over the place in where I'm at anyway. And I can't believe I didn't think to build one. I love that idea. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Yeah, I have a friend who's a semi-pro disc golfer. So yeah, that'd be awesome. I should consult with him. He's a planner too. I should just ask him. What does this actually look any good? Let's see. People are really enjoying the Bandit City. That's good. Someone says they'll get more. Dylan says they'll get more into it later on. See some more city review videos. Yeah, the city. So I'm planning on doing a city review probably once a month. They're either very simple videos to put together or incredibly time consuming. And the last one was very involved. And the other thing, I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I still love City Skylines. So I find myself getting lost sometimes. And that's where I ended up in that last one. I think I spent 3 hours just like fixing the city and doing different things. I built a highway, ring highway around there. I fixed up some of the areas that had like some slight issues. And then I realized I'd accomplished nothing. I hadn't been recording. I was just having fun, which is great. But I didn't get a video out of that. So that's kind of a bummer. So I want to do more of them. I used to do the whole week of them when I had an editor. That was easy. And I haven't had an editor now for months. I've been talking with folks about it. And the longer I do this on my own, the more I want to be involved in the edits. So even if I get an editor on board, I'm probably still going to have some level of involvement on the finishing end of it. So I'd have someone do the rough edits for me and I'd finish it up. Let's see. There's a war memorial there. It can't be changed. You must be talking about the one on the beach. Yeah, that can't go. And Reddit, yeah. Thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. And I'm pretty sure I saw Mulligan in here. There we go. Yep, I saw him. Great to see you. Great to see you, Mulligan. Thank you for moderating. Thank you for everything you do. I see Sherry too. Great to see Sherry. I don't even know what a disc golf course looks like from above. Honestly, from above, it depends on where you. So some of them are in fields. A lot of them are in forests. So you probably wouldn't see much besides paths and a lot of forests. I need an editor. Needs a strong word. I really enjoy editing. I really do. So I've been in talks with a few different people about editing, and we'll see what comes of it. In the meantime, I've found that editing has been an excellent way for me to storytell. And that has been something that early on I didn't really get. I've also found, and here I am again. I don't want to click anything in there. So not just a nice vehicle for storytelling, but it also, I think I'm going to be the one that's the most comfortable chopping things out. And over the last 3 months, I talked about the sledgehammer approach in the Abandoned City series. I've been doing the exact same thing with editing. I've been going absolutely nuts, cutting out videos. So I've been recording more and cutting more out of the videos. So I get more accomplished, which I think is really, really helpful. So I'm going to continue to do that. And that's going to be the thing. Like whoever I get on board for an editor at some point, if that's something I do, they're going to need to feel super confident cutting out content and still telling a coherent story. So that is going to be an important thing. And let's see. I missed a couple. Aaron, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, CPP, your videos have got me through some really rough times. Love all of your series and been watching Verde Beach since day one. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Aaron. I appreciate that. Planner Duck with the 20 memberships gifted. Thank you so much. Again, turn on gift receiving if you haven't already. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to receive those, although they might already all be given out at this point. Thank you so much. Always the real MVP, Planner Duck. Just a great guy. Dante, thank you so much again for the super chat. In your opinion, what would it take to move away from car-centric urban design and towards a mix of cars and transit? A new generation of urban planners updating the DOT practices? That's a tough question. I mean, even in the most progressive of cities, I think that my community is a fairly progressive city. It's really a generational thing for the planners. I think you hit something there. The other thing is, a lot of the most important roads in a community are not owned by the community itself. So in my city, East Washington Avenue, the biggest arterial in the city, cuts the isthmus right in half. Not owned by the city of Madison. It's owned by the Department of Transportation. And the Department of Transportation looks at that road as a highway. So because they're looking at that as a highway, it's never going to be very pedestrian friendly. And Wisconsin, for instance, used to have a complete streets law, and that was revoked at one point. So when that was revoked, that changed the ability to use eminent domain, for instance, to condemn portions of people's property to add sidewalks. So when you have these highways that maybe don't have that space, now not only do you not have a supportive Department of Transportation, you don't have a supportive framework of laws to get it done, and it can be really challenging. On a local level, I know that I've had battles myself about planning in a more pedestrian and transit friendly way. And I think the real thing is people need to get out of GIS and get on the ground and really think about that. So that's, I think it's very easy to plan from this level and not think about the experience on the ground and how it actually feels. So that's another thing, getting on the ground and actually thinking about the distance between things. Like I don't know how many times I've had conversations with people about right of way. So the amount of space that's dedicated for transportation facilities, and absolutely ridiculously wide rights of ways being dedicated. And, the conversation is always, well, we've got to save it just in case. We want to make sure that in the future we have that space if it's needed. And the argument that I've made is that all of the best roads in a community, I challenge them to list off roads that they like in the local community. And then what does that road have in common with the road that you're building or that you're proposing is built? And oftentimes they'll say nothing. But it accommodates everything. And it's got a transit lane. It's got a bike lane. It's got parking. Everyone can do everything. And as a result, the right-of-way is 130 feet wide. And it functions. It does everything, and it does everything poorly. So I think that we need to get out of that mindset of because we have the ability to do whatever we want, we should do everything, because that's just not the way it should be. So complicated question. DOT is part of it. I think the planners, we as planners need to be a little bit more forward thinking. I think that we need to really think about the way cities used to be built and be willing to do things that aren't perfect. We've got to be able to make trade-offs. CG, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. And let's see, Daylight Gaming, thank you so much for the super chat. Any plans for what you're going to do after Verde Beach? Will there be a replacement from your number one fan and probably your only fan in Nova Scotia? That's awesome. Not 100% settled on what I'll be doing after that. I might take a little break from a series and just kind of do a couple of small things, and then we'll see where things are at that point. Any thoughts on adding villages, hamlets to Verde Beach? Nerdex says, yeah, I mean, that's been a thought. I mean, we kind of did it over here, but I think that we could have some smaller cities. That's been a thought, because I've thought about areas like this. What do you do over here? it's kind of its own place, but reasonably, this whole map is kind of getting built out. So there aren't really places to add that, unless I believe it was Planner Duck or Planner Pete that mentioned that we should do some sort of community up in the hills. So that's been something I've been thinking about, kind of a Thousand Oaks style development. So thinking about the LA area and some of the hillside developments, the higher end stuff, that might be something that we do. Let's see, Grayson, thank you again for the super chat. The war memorial at the junction Jaden mentioned was, that. So that's this one right here. There's the war memorial that's been there for a long time. Will always be there. Planner Duck, holy cow, that is super generous of you, Planner Duck. Taking a break from a meeting, but wanted to pop in and say hi and thanks for everything. Great videos, great work. Now I have to get back to the meeting for appeals. Oh boy. If that's the zoning board of appeals, that's a special one. That's a special kind of stress too. Keep up the good work, Planner Duck, and thank you for your generosity. Really appreciate that. Rose, thank you for becoming an associate planner. And I think we're caught up there. 82nd Airborne, thank you so much for becoming an associate planner. I really appreciate, you guys have been very generous in your support today, and I really, really appreciate that. All right, so we are building this. No. Yeah, this map is, we've filled up a lot of it. And if you think about it, we've been building this since December of 2020. So it kind of makes sense that it's this far along. So it's pretty wild though. And I can remember basically every one of these individual developments. So it's been a lot of fun. You guys, many of you have been there since the very beginning. I see some names that have been there since the very beginning. Free Tutoria. So I have thought about, that's another option, is I've thought about just recording. Okay, here's one thing I have thought about in terms of what I could do after Verde Beach. And I actually thought about kind of taking a bit of a detour from everything for a little while. And I mentioned that I have the Series X with the remastered City Skylines. I thought about doing a console version of Tutoria. I think I'm getting better at the console version. It's with a mouse and keyboard, it is very enjoyable. With the controller, I think it is misery. At least for me. I don't think you could use the controller as long as I, or use the mouse and keyboard as long as I have, and then go to a controller and feel comfortable with that. It's just kind of a mess. So what we're gonna do is add a fence here. I'm gonna fence this in. I want to add some sandboxes over here. I'm thinking very specifically about a beer garden that I like to go to. You guys are making me think about it. So it's the Albrecht Park Beer Garden. And let me see if I can pull up a picture of that. So we'll pop through here. And I will show you this. So it's right over here. It's right by the Albrecht Botanical Gardens. And for the person that was visiting Madison, this would be absolutely something I would recommend checking out. Check out the Botanical Gardens. It's beautiful. Wow, I am just tanking my computer right now. Maybe this isn't gonna work. It looks like I'm at 60% CPU utilization. So anyway, it's right here. There is a park with a basketball court and a boat launch site and a beer garden with sandboxes around it so that you can take your kids. So we'll do something similar. City Sky. So DJ, I hear what you're saying. City Skylines on console. Nope. I get it. There is something to say about the predictability of how it's going to run. So if you don't have the strongest computer in the world and you do have an Xbox Series S or a PlayStation 5, just being able to play the game and know it's going to run at a consistent frame rate, there's something special. I have my Xbox at my computer desk, so it was all right. You missed the trees on the right? Yeah, I will get those. Thank you. That is a good catch. So I want some longer benches here. So let's see where those are. Maybe they're under. So we add a couple more things here as well. Some food trucks. So at Albrecht Gardens, you can buy a bratwurst and, you know, oh, actually this ice cream stand. I know it's an ice cream stand, but that almost looks like it could be for a beer garden. So I'm going to get rid of the grill and we're going to add that instead. Because that to me looks very, very beer garden-y. We'll just have to ignore the ice cream. Let's see. Let it load slowly and go back to the game. All right. I will do that. I will do that. We'll see. Maybe because I've reopened it, it'll be better now. Let's see. I'll just let it go. I'm going to bring it to my other monitor and we'll just keep building it. And eventually we'll get there. I agree. That's a very good idea. So let's see. Did I miss any? Baze, thank you for becoming an associate planner. I appreciate that. I missed a couple. The family says I missed a couple of other roads. I will go take a look at those. I'm zooming in. And of course, now on my other monitor, first try. So this is the beer garden. So there's Albrecht Park right here, which is a botanical garden. It has an indoor and an outdoor section. So this section right here it's a tropical area. And then there's the outdoor garden area. So absolutely wonderful place. You can take some kayaks up here. I've gone through and done that and then gone out in the lake as well. And then over here, this is actually where you get the kayaks at the beach here in the back side of this. And at the front side is the beer garden. So right here, there are a bunch of picnic tables. And then there's the sandbox that I mentioned. So you can grab your beer right here, walk over here with some friends, take a look. The views over here are of the Capitol. It's absolutely striking. There's some weeping willows and other trees. You can watch people on their boats, and then your kids can be in the sandbox. And then there are basketball and volleyball courts over here as well, tennis courts. So we should add something similar to that. Obviously, we're a bit space constrained, so we can't do all of that. And it's the vanilla game, so we are limited. So we'll do what we can. Oh, Al Demetrius is heading out. Thank you so much for being here, Demetrius. And check out Demetrius's channel if you haven't. Absolutely fantastic stuff. I mentioned Demetrius in a community post not too long ago. So I would love to have picnic tables that look similar to Albrecht. So we'll just go with something like this and then just really load them up. Let's see. I've got over 3,000 population with 94% traffic flow. I am very curious. So I'm going to call you Sob, not SOB. And I'm wondering if you're hitting the vehicle limit like I am. Like I was. I'm not anymore. But when you hit the vehicle limit, you end up in a situation where you're not spawning traffic anymore. You could also have lots of death occurring in your city, and you might not have enough goods. And when you have a population that big, that you can have those issues. Beautiful, but the parking lot is so big. It is. And I was hoping it would fill up. It's not going to. Any thoughts on the proposal for the Buc-ee's? I didn't know there was a Buc-ee's proposal in DeForest. I was shocked when I drove up north not too long ago and seeing the driving range. Just jarring on the side of the highway. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna take a brief detour. Look at all the people walking over here. Let's get this upgraded. We'll get these trees fixed, and then there's a couple of roads that I missed apparently as well. And then I should fix this. Instead of having the lanes merge here, we could have a turning lane if I just upgrade this. So why don't we just take this, we'll add trees there, and then we'll upgrade these. I want to say that is the date palm. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like that. Dante, thank you again so much for the super chat. PC players like to give console players a hard time, but as a console player, it's not terrible. It'd just be cool if we could mod our cities too. Playing City Skylines on the PS4 is really smooth if you could play it on the PS5. Yeah, so I agree. That was my experience too. It was very smooth, and there's something to be said for that. Just that predictability of the play experience. I obviously I prefer the freedom that I have with console. It's the same reason that I am an Android user. I'm a huge fan of Apple products. I think I mentioned this before. I was at Apple Campus Rep. I worked at the Apple Store in the Glendale Galleria for years. And I don't use an iPhone because I don't like being locked down. So that's my only critique with the console version is you are that locked down and you can't do things. So if that weren't the case, I would probably consider it more. I'm going to take that down a notch there because I just feel like it's a little overwhelming and overpowering right there. Corey is a console player, super jealous of the mods as well. So maybe I'll ask that as a poll. Is there any interest in a console version of Tutoria on the Xbox? So let me figure out the polling again because it's been 2 months. I can't remember how to do it. So let's see. I go into, start a poll. I don't know why it's doing that, but while I ask the poll question, it's going to blur like this. So just forgive me. Tutoria on console? Yes or no? Should we have a Tutoria on console? All right, there we go. Asking in a poll, and here we go. Back. That is bizarre. I don't know what that is, why that was happening. All right, and because this is a beer garden, we're also going to need, let's see, do we have a sandbox? We don't, we'll add one, and we're gonna need places to recycle. And then I wanna add some lighting to this area as well. They have some lighting in the, oh, wow. This is the poll, for whatever reason, the poll just takes me out. Yeah, Jake, yeah, the freedom that you have with a PC, that's the reason why I will likely always remain a PC player. If the console got the ability to add mods in like a legitimate store, but I don't know that that's going to happen. Let's see. Striking Propane, thank you so much for the super chat. From watching you, I bought my first gaming PC so I could play City Skylines. Basically, a 1500 just a City Skylines machine. Yeah, I think if you get real serious about PC, gaming on PC, especially for one game like I have as well. It's easy to go down the rabbit hole. That's awesome though. Hopefully you're enjoying your PC. Thank you for the support. All right, so let's add in. This is the longest time it's ever taken me to add in a recycling. Just taking my time. We'll add that right over here. Where's the front of this? There it is. We'll add that right back here. It feels like this is overkill in terms of the amount of space that we've given over here. I might just take this down like that, and then we'll add some landscaping around here to make it look a little bit better. Maybe a tree. So that's that's huge. That's the other thing about places like this is you'd obviously want to have some shade. I feel like at the Albrecht Beer Garden, whenever I've gone there, everyone clamors for the couple of tables at sunset that are before sunset that have a little bit of shade. So we'll add in a little bit there. Is anyone sad about the missing pedestrian routes? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Is that here? Jessica? So it looks like with about 400 votes, generally people are in favor of a Tutoria on console. Boy, that's irritating. I'm not sure why, but anytime I click in Chrome now, it's blurring. So I'm probably not going to say a lot there. Do I ever think I would go back to Bluffside Crossing? I would think about it. So with the abandoned city, I actually thought about bringing back Bluffside Crossing as that abandoned city. We brought it back for a stream and it was pretty fun. But I guess there's so much I would change. I'm not sure how you'd all feel about it. Since I've started the channel, I think I've gotten a lot better at City Skylines. I didn't really take it all that seriously. I've just, I'd get home from a long day at work, and my wife, who is a kind of an early, she goes to bed a lot earlier than I do. She would go to bed, and I would pop on down to the basement and just play City Skylines for a while I was watching either Netflix or the news or, whatever. YouTube, watch Biffa, So I didn't really get super into mods or anything. So that's one of the things that people have asked, how am I loading up all my old cities? I didn't really use that many mods. So it was really, really simple for me to load them up. And they've been, so long story short, I would consider it. I would wonder how people would feel about that. And I think I would probably go down the rabbit hole because I've gotten a lot better. So we will see. Could I add a trolley bus route? We are going to add a Palma del Fuego. So the trolley bus, this area has got to come soon. I'm excited to build this. A lot of our unique assets that we have been saving belong over there. I've been hoarding them to use over here. So when we get to that, our trolley bus, and the reason why we're doing it here is we've got some terrain, and I want to take this area and potentially make the terrain a bit more extreme, maybe do some terracing, and we'll see. Oh, Diana's in here. Hi, Diana. You missed Bluffside Crossing? It's funny. Bluffside Crossing, I had no idea it was going to take off. So by the time it did, it was like, oh my goodness, I've made so many mistakes. I don't know how to keep this thing going. So I would go and I would fix a lot of those mistakes. That's what I would do if I were to do that now. So we are going to add in a taxi here, which I think is a taxi stand, which I think is smart because we have this beer garden. It's a ways away, but people can walk. It'll be all right. I want to change one thing back here. We have all these roads, and I don't love that, but we have to have them. But if we're going to have them, rather than having the wide sidewalks, I think I'm going to add trees back there, and we'll fill in a bit back here with other landscaping as well. Let's see. Need more likes. That is, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you, Sean. Grayson, thank you so much for the super chat. Sorry, CPP. I wondered if my last super chat was wrong. Jaden sent a previous super chat about an in real life three-way interchange with terrible blind spots that I was thinking was close by them, and it couldn't be fixed because of the war memorial there. Oh, yeah. And if that's the case, the only way to likely fix that would be to relocate it, which you do see from time to time. But again, significant projects like that, for better or for worse, generally only happen when there is a significant need. Unless someone takes it as their personal, they run for office on fixing that one thing. So I've definitely seen that. W says, work keeps emailing. Research requests are taking off. Thank you for being here, W. Thank you so much. Restart Bluffside from the beginning. So it's funny that you say that, because that's one of the things that's been interesting. This is too wavy for me. So a couple of comments about the Abandoned City series have been, I'd like to see you start over and just completely rebuild on that map. And would I do it the same or different? It would be so different. The downtown is so inappropriately placed on that map. I think the starting square is kind of where I began the series. So I think ideally that's where the downtown would be. That's generally where they would crop up. And that's my big regret in Verde Beach too. The downtown is in the wrong spot. And it's funny. So I was a part of the Red Bull Metropolis, I don't know, at this point, year and a half, 2 years ago. And the final city was built on this map, and the downtown was right here and across the bridge. And I just kept thinking to myself, yeah, that's probably where it should have been. But we have it where it is. I like it more where it is. It's fine where it is. I think that if we were going to do that, if for the next series, I want to do something where we basically don't touch high density for a while. And we just, where we just keep it low density for quite some time and then begin to build it up naturally as things go on. Dwayne says Robert Moses would be proud of my current rebuild series. I agree. It's been really fun though, taking a sledgehammer and just starting because I play with a lot of constraints, and it's not for everybody, but it is for me. And in that series, I started out with those constraints in mind, and then I asked you guys how you felt about it. And after episode 2, the overwhelming feedback I saw was, just sledgehammer everything. I don't care. And I've really taken that to heart. We are going to just demolish everything in that city. And by the time we're done, it's going to feel like a completely new place. So I appreciate your willingness to indulge me in that way. Let's see. Oh, and you can see when I've clicked away because I get that blurriness. And I'm wondering if that is because I have Earth Pro open. Let's see if that fixes it for me. Yeah, it's still giving me that. So I apologize. You are seeing my window blur when I click over at Chrome. Do a Let's Game It Out series. So yeah, I'm seeing lots of different ideas for collaborations. The problem is, the only folks I've really ever talked to have been cities, skylines, YouTubers, or urban planning channels. There's a couple that I've talked to that aren't, but it's been very few. So definitely open to it though. Definitely open to it. I think that it's a great way to bring other people into the community. So I would love it. Jawa says most cities have 2 downtowns. That could be the case. Yeah, I feel like we have 2 downtowns now in Verde Beach. The old Verde Beach, once we get the Skyscrapers DLC, definitely worked that in. And I feel like it was a huge improvement for that area. And it was natural, in my opinion. We should have a long time ago had all that density there. But now we have it, and now it's good. Daniel says that guy is crazy, but I don't know who you're talking about. Are you talking about Call Me Kevin? Or are you talking about me? It could be me. I'm not sure. Max, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the channel. Hard work as you demolish. You have to route traffic on detours. I've thought about that because normally with highway projects, there's a whole phasing plan. So you might think of the highway project as just one quick project that you have the beginning and you have the end, but there's actually like multiple plans through that whole process that get built out. So it's kind of interesting. Doing an ArcGIS series, you don't want to see that. There are people that are better at GIS. I feel like I'm one of those people with GIS where I impress a whole bunch of people. Like I've had bosses that have been like, "Wow, you're a wizard at GIS," and I just say, "No, I know enough to look like I know what I'm doing." I know enough. That's how much I know. What I really get impressed by, there are people that know QGIS, and to me, that's the way to do it. Knowing an open source GIS platform like that. My wife, she knows QGIS, and I'm just incredibly jealous. That's what she learned in grad school. Yeah, Taxi Depot, we'll get to that. I want to do one thing. There was a little bit of criticism about a lack of bike connectivity and pedestrian connectivity, and I agree. We are going to try to get bikes over here. So what I'm going to do is on the back end, we are going to run a bike path along the side here, kind of dump people off from this area. So not wonderful, but it'll do the trick. So I'm going to run that back here. Would this happen in a million years? I think that this house would fight this tooth and nail, but we'll take some liberties. That's the nice thing about a stream, is we can take some liberties. So I'm using the wrong path. I'll need to upgrade this. Not a big deal. And we weren't going to have any connections into this road anyway, so I don't think it's a big deal to run the path right along the side of the road. Let's get that upgraded to the right path. And I think I still miss those roads. I'm getting distracted by talking. I've really missed interacting with you guys as things have been kind of wild for me personally the last month, 2 months, 3 months. Nerdic, thank you so much for the support. Would great be to see your thoughts on other games like Star Citizen, Cyberpunk, Assassin's Creed. Would people care to see? I mean, I don't know that people would care about how I felt about those games, unless I was talking about the urban planning in those games. And that's been one thing that early on, I did have a couple of developers reach out to me to talk about city design in their games. Nothing ever came of it, but it was one of those things that I would certainly entertain that. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Let's see. If Verde Beach were modded, it would be easy to Brooklynize your old downtowns with Rico. Yeah, it would be. I get a quick drink of water. Hold on 1 second. If you need help breaking out of the city planning YouTube bubble, you might want to do a collab with drone photography channels. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that. My brother-in-law just got a drone, and I forgot to ask him about that. I want to check it out. It's a very nice drone. It's a very, very nice drone. It's meant for doing large scale photography across fields. So, yeah, I want to see how that works. And he is a farmer, and he is adding a lot of tech to his farm. And it's wild seeing all the things. I mean, between autonomous lawnmowers to, drones to capture, ground cover and then bring that into GIS so that you can do things. It's just wild. Astrogenast, thank you so much for the support. I work in political design and regularly blow people's minds with my extremely rudimentary QGIS knowledge. Yes. Isn't that amazing? All you have to do is know a little bit about GIS, and you know a lot more than most people. So, and it's so powerful. Even if you just know how to buffer things, it's really impressive. At one point, I had to learn how to put together, it was called a pedestrian shed analysis. So I had the sidewalk network coded in to GIS, and I could figure out what portion of the city was walkable from a particular point in the city. So I would run this analysis, and it just blew people's minds. And it was just a program. It was just an element of ArcGIS. It was called Network Analyst. As long as your network is planarized and not broken, it's totally fine. It's easy to run, but it blew people's minds. Let's see. Dante, is there any truth to the Robert Moses busway? I've heard mixed things. I've heard people jump to that conclusion that that's why it is low. I think that there could be an element of truth to that, but I honestly, I was going to talk about that in the Clearwater County episode, and I dropped that talking point because I couldn't figure out whether or not it was true. 82nd Airborne, would you prefer trolleybus, tram, buses for mass transit? I think it depends on the context. So I think a tram system is a lot of fun. It just feels like high quality transit when you're on a tram. I've also been on buses on fixed guideways that feel like they're high quality transit. So it just depends on the context. In terms of the trolley buses, there has to be a reason. So as long as there's a reason, I love a trolley bus, but it would have to be great or something of that nature. We're gonna call some eminent domain on this house for just a moment. I want to break that so that I can upgrade this road. That's the height of realism right there. We just took their house out so that we could add in a crosswalk. But there we go. Now you can get from the bike lane over here to this facility along here. And then you're kind of dumped off into the road, which stinks, but you can still get over here. So it's a little bit better. Maybe we'll go on the other side. I was planning on having some commercial along here. We're still going to do that. So we have a high demand for both commercial and residential, but I think that we should run a bike path behind it. So I'm going to separate these a little bit. So we'll go maybe give a 2-unit gap in between and have some commercial properties here. But on the back side, I want to be really careful because we can run a bike path right over to here and dump off in this area. It doesn't really go anywhere, but at least you're away from this 4-lane collector and onto streets are a little bit more friendly for cycling. So we'll go with that. Let's see. How long do I plan to keep streaming? Oh, wow. Time is flying. Probably another half an hour. We'll see. We'll see. Will's in here. You're late, but that's fine. I'm just happy to see you, Will. It's been a little while. I feel like we're getting the band back together. I love it. I love it. I am sorry to everybody that I've been gone so much recently. It is going to be improving. My office, I'm really excited. I want to share some pictures and maybe a little video about my office because I've been really focusing on making it a good setup for what I'm doing here. And I think it's really, really good now. And I'm excited to share it. So interestingly, the bike network, if we wouldn't have had this here, we could have had a nice connection, but now it's blocked. And that's the sort of thing that happens in real life too. Where you're like, oh, if only we could have had this nice connection back here, but instead we'll run it behind here. It'll be a little disconnected. It's circuitous. And this is the problem sometimes with planning is that, think about this. We have a really nice bike network in terms of access, but if you were a cyclist, it would take you twice as long to get anywhere. And that's something that is a really big critique, I think, of planning at times, is that we're planning for it, but it's not as convenient or as good. Let's see, Kevin, cheers from Spain. Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. I'm glad this time. I'm seeing a lot of Europeans here. I'm glad this time works so well for Europe. That's awesome. Normally the streams are at such wildly inconvenient times. I see folks in Europe and it is so late. I feel terrible. I feel terrible about that. Yeah, Will, it has been too long. Yeah, so this new place is awesome. I absolutely love it. I have a window. I look outside right now and I can't see the sun. It's Wisconsin in the winter, but I can see the sky. And it's kind of wild. I have Zoom calls for a variety of things, and having the light, the impact, if you have darker skin at all and you're in a Zoom call, the thing I always struggle with is I become a silhouette. So this is the first time that I've been in a space where I am not a silhouette most of the time. So it's been really nice to have that as a thing for me now. Argentina. Great to have you in here. Great to have you in here. Omar, thank you. Let's see. Everyone's saying I'm going to domain for the bike path so we get a better bike path. Yeah, I think that we should have a better bike path at some point. I think, there was a discussion about the transit audit. I really think that we could have a bike network audit. Yeah, and Frederick, I know that the streams normally when I stream, I will stream at night when my kids are in bed, and it's 9 o'clock, sometime between 7 and 9 o'clock for me is when I'll start, and it's a great time for me. I can have a beer then and hang out, but it is an absolutely horrible time for Europe. I think it's also a very good time for Asia, and I want to say it's okay Australia as well, but not great for Europe. So this is a better time. Thank you for streaming at this time, coming from Hampshire, UK. Great. I'm glad this works. Boost the brightness on your monitor and set the UI to daytime. Boom, the monitor itself becomes a light source. That That's true. That is true. I have 2 monitors. So one of the things that I've talked about my setup changing a bit. One of the things that I changed recently was I realized that I don't have reference monitors. So essentially what that means is that I was editing videos and I couldn't see the videos in a neutral color gamut. So same thing with audio. I wasn't using studio headphones, so I was hearing things and I was adjusting it for the stuff that I have, which is fine. But if you want to improve the quality, you've really got to have a good display and a good audio setup. So recently I picked up a BenQ monitor and I slightly adjusted the colors on all of the series. So when you look at them now, it's because I'm using a monitor with a better color gamut and it's a reference monitor. So it's been excellent for fine tuning things. And it's been an absolute dream. So back here, we're just making a little residential area. It's going to be kind of cul-de-saced off. There's not much we can do about that back here. So I'm not gonna worry about it too much. I wish that this could be a pond. That's the one thing that I wish that I could do back here. That's not going to be in the cards in a vanilla game. Let's see. And Glorious is in Arkansas, so the time works for you as well. That's awesome. So in the Philippines, I see Justra saying that you're in the Philippines. What time is it in the Philippines right now? Is it like 6 in the morning? London's having you're in London having dinner and relaxing. That's awesome. I just had lunch. So yeah, I just had lunch. It was a very, very good time. And when people were talking about times, for me, my kids get off the bus in a little while, so that'll be what I'm up to. I think we're just gonna this is gonna be really poor design, but we're kind of in that area. So we've respected the terrain and we have a poor design. That'll be what this area is. There are webcams that have lights in them. Oh, I didn't realize that. I have a Logitech. It's a 4K webcam. It works well enough. I think what I really need is a key light. I don't really have a very nice key light. So we've got Florida here. So we've got a lot more viewers than when the stream began. Well, I'm putting the finishing touches on this, and then I want to switch over to a couple of fixes. Right now, I want to see where you guys are all from. We've got many more people here. Yeah, I could put a small pond in the triangle in a modded game, but I can't do it here. The only thing I could do is turn it on and off with the. So I could. Well, I take that back. So I could have one of these freshwater outlets and then have a pump there. I could drop it way down. I did that in Tutoria. It's fine, but I'm gonna avoid that here. See, Florida, but I'm actually in Georgia. Florida, lots of Middle East, 10 p.m. Ohio, North Carolina, Hong Kong. That's awesome. Netherlands, Virginia, Cincinnati, Netherlands, Alberta, California, Netherlands, Sweden, Quebec, Pacific Northwest, Brazil, Massachusetts, Sweden, Puerto Rico. I'm always just amazed. Moscow, Greece. I'm just always amazed at how far and wide people are viewing this from. It's ever since I started the YouTube channel, I think it's made me much more aware of I guess the global. It's made me think more globally. And I kind of wish that more people, particularly in the US, had that experience, because I think that's the first, when I visited Europe, that was one of the things I was struck by, is how internationally people think about things. And we definitely don't do that in the US all the time. The number of people that you talk to have never left the country. I was one of them until in my 30s. And then I went to Mexico, Greece, all within like a year and then COVID. So yeah. Oh, San Diego, New York, Brazil. Holy cow. All over the place. UK. Love it. I love it. Clearwater. I love that. Clearwater, Florida. So Clearwater, Florida is one of those places that I actually used some assets from. So that's really cool. I'm adding just a couple of connections here. I'm using the wrong ones though. So I just want connections to the bike network so folks in this neighborhood would be able to take advantage of all of these lovely paths that are through here. And then in this area, let's have some pedestrian paths so people can actually walk through on these. And then we're gonna go 100% residential here. I'm gonna add some fences along the road to prevent zoning, because I don't really see a road that is this busy with freight traffic having a lot of residential along it. And again, this is suburban, so I'm thinking from a suburban context out here. And I could definitely see something like this. And this is a terrible design. There's a neighborhood that I would have really loved to bring transit service to at one point, but the neighborhood was oriented away from what would have been the transit corridor, and a wall was in between the neighborhood and that street. Now, from the standpoint of noise, and maybe I'll design it more like that neighborhood. From the standpoint of noise and visual impacts, I totally get it. So it was more along this line. So let's turn on grid, bring it back a tile. And then you leave that little gap there. And then they had a bunch of evergreens, because at least in my area, if you want landscape to provide coverage year round, that is what you're going to do. So you do something like this, and now it feels very secluded back there. You block a lot of the sound, the noise, and it feels like if you're living particularly along this, you're not directly on an arterial. So that is a treatment that you'll see in suburban areas around here. And it's great, except that now all of the homes are really far from transit, which stinks. And let's see. Is Clearwater a Scientology city? Is it? What is that? That is, yeah. I definitely had my exposure to that in LA. It's an interesting experience, Scientology. Grew up in Tampa, St. Pete, says Sean. Bring down that wall. Hey, Phil, what is a word of advice you give to a young architect? I'm graduating soon. I would say in the beginning, don't worry about having the most glamorous job. Get your experience. Down the line in your career, you'll be able to get whatever job you want. In the beginning, if you can get that job, great, but just get the job. There are so many people. So the grad school I went to in Denver was a planning and architecture school. And the number of people that I graduated with in both architecture and planning that for one reason or another never used their degree is pretty staggering. And the main reason for that is that people got really idealistic about their first job, and they would turn down a bunch of jobs that would have been fine. I did that. I was offered a position, just an internship, but I think it could have turned into something more, in Rib Mountain, Wisconsin. Right out of undergrad. I wouldn't have needed to go to grad school. And I decided that I didn't want to do that because I wanted to be guaranteed that it could turn into a real job down the line. And it is the biggest mistake I made in my career. Just absolutely ridiculous that for me to get that arrogant about my own job prospects. So I would just say, get that experience. Once you have a year under your belt, you can kind of go wherever. Let's see. Well, I think people who put trees in the road like that should feel secluded, should feel like they're away from transit too. Yeah, Odin, I agree. If you have the trees like this, we'll turn the contours off. If you are back here and this is where you want to live and you want to feel that secluded, you shouldn't have transit. Also, Also, you're in single family homes that are pretty spread apart. You probably shouldn't have transit. This road should have transit, but if you're going to live here and have the benefit of transit, you probably need to walk to it. Just being reasonable. Let's add some trees to this as well. And Will, thank you so much for moderating. I see you. I see you. If you'd ever like to. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to add in a few trees back here, and I missed the park. We should never plan a neighborhood without a park. That's something that I think it's easy to forget about that. Generally, when you have a plat, there's an amount of park space in an ordinance that you'd have to have for a neighborhood. So I'm going to add something small like a basketball court, and we can add that over here. And we have this path here, so that benefits not just this neighborhood, but that one. And that would certainly be something that the city would be thinking about. How do I feel as an urbanist when you see designs that you maybe don't like? As an architect, I feel like there are urbanists that often are too strict with their criteria. It depends. I mean, obviously there are some designs that I think can be fixed. There are some properties. So this is actually an interesting question, because that's one of the things with the series that I have with the abandoned city that I thought about. Like, I could treat it like a real planner would, where you come in and you're kind of just stuck with things as they are. So there are times where I remember looking at this plan for this area. It was this large neighborhood area. It was supposed to be kind of a downtown type area, and over time it was there's no better way of putting it. It was kind of bastardized into basically a big box complex that looked nice. No dog park. Yeah, we gotta add that dog park. Yeah, I mean, you get stuck as an urban planner. You often have to check your idealism at the door, and it stinks. But yeah, it could be. I think that too often, architects and engineers can focus on efficiency or budgets, and I think that planners can often not think about those things enough. Did I put the right? I did, but okay. So yeah, there's certainly a balance. I mean, it's always disappointing when you see a design that isn't very good, and you think of small things that could have made the design better. And the thing about planning, architecture, engineering, if you criticize somebody and their design, you got to remember that these are people, and they're people with feelings, people that poured their time and effort into a project. And if you go in guns blazing saying that their project stinks, that's a great way to create an adversarial relationship and to not get what you want. So oftentimes in those sorts of instances, my approach would be to try to find, win-win sorts of situations. So if there are things that you can do where it's a less hostile way of approaching it, that's the way. I mean, yeah. So yeah, it's disappointing, but you can't, the planners who don't have influence on it are the planners who, rather than working with people, just walk up to someone and say, your design stinks, and I'm going to go to plan commission and say that it shouldn't be approved. There's only one time in my whole career where I couldn't work with somebody. And I'm not going to give away too much information, but I basically I'm a certified planner, and I invoked the ethics code and told my boss that I couldn't ethically be in favor of the project. I was told that I should be, that concessions were made and the concessions were good enough, and I just disagreed. I thought that the design wasn't safe, and it couldn't be with the way that the developer wanted it designed, and I had to take a step back, and sometimes you got to do that. And that's kind of where I was at. So I'm not going to get into any more detail with that one, because it's still the design I was the design I was advocating for would have been very connected. And I recall at one point, folks came in with pictures of 100 children. And they sat down and they held it up. And it said, you, city planner, are endangering these children. And I actually look at it the exact opposite way. That connectivity would have prevented longer trips. It would have added a bit more friction. And the design that was created ended up basically leading to a tunnel where people have unimpeded movement in a vehicle for a mile and could blow right past this intersection. This would have been a place that would have been an intersection between a school and a neighborhood. And instead of having that friction of having the extra crossings, the extra junctions in that intersection in that neighborhood, there are no junctions. There's a pedestrian crossing. There's not even an actuator or anything like that. So it's a kind of a bad situation, and it's one that made me feel very uneasy. So, but that's the only time. Otherwise, I find that most people are really good to work with if you are willing to accept that you're not always going to agree on things and that you're not always right. I mean, I think that's the big thing. I mean, and that's something that as a profession, like I think planners just need to be very humble. Sometimes it's easy to just say, I went to school for this. I know what I'm talking about. I mean, you don't always, and sometimes you're wrong as a planner. So you got to be willing to admit that. So let's see. Lewis has been following me since Bluffside. Been lucky enough to chat a few times, but I had no idea you were a former Apple retail guy. Hello from Florida. Yeah. If you were a former, the Apple store was great. I loved working there. It's wonderful. All right, the last couple of things I want to focus on. There's a few fixes. So if you have fixes that you think I should have done, I want you to post a couple of those. Oh, I missed the fire. So here's the fixes that I want to cover. A long time ago, in phase 1 of this development, someone mentioned that I should have had some landscaping along this warehouse to prevent the views from the park. So we're just going to add in some pretty dense landscaping. Maybe we'll just do what we just did. And that'll be to prevent the view of the warehouse. So that's one. Number 2, I want to come over here to the last build. And someone pointed out something that you can see right now. We are missing a resource, and it's going to be metals. Oh, yes. Oh, well, why don't we take this tonight so we can enjoy our views while we add in a warehouse for metals. So I have plastics. We have the oil. It's on fire. We have no metal storage over here, and as a result, we've got the petroleum. What we're seeing is that this is often, it doesn't have enough resources. So I'm just going to add another warehouse. That's one of the reasons that we reserved this space over here, is extra warehouses in the future. And I'm seeing more and more comments being moderated. Please keep it calm there. And I appreciate the moderators for taking care of that. Yeah, massive fire. Just getting worse. All right, so I'm going to add in a couple of warehouses here. So that's a little bit too big, I think. Or maybe it's okay. So we'll add this one here, and we will store our metals. Whoops. And that should get us going here. So this is when I hit the vehicle limit before. And I wish that I could zoom into this, but basically when I added all the storage, all the stuff that's on fire, we spawned over the vehicle limit. So now, thankfully, with more vehicles, that won't be a problem. Oh, the fire station. That is right. That is one of the things. So that was a big miss back here. Someone said that they worked at a site like this, and having an on-site fire station is absolutely mandatory. I wonder, I'd love to have a helicopter depot out here, but we're just so far from water that it's not going to matter. So I will just add in a firehouse back here. And let me see. Where would be appropriate? I think what I'm going to do is add in a stub road here and add it right along this arterial. The reason why is it should provide really good coverage across this entire district if it's just off the arterial. And I'll stop it right there so that that path connects up here so we don't lose the connectivity for pedestrians that we had over here. And then just add this right here, and that should be helpful. The other thing that was mentioned, geez, is that we need some commercial just serving this area that is currently on fire. That would be really nice if you were working and living in this area to be able to go and, you know, grab a bite to eat. Yeah, there's always a fire. So even though I don't love zoning on collectors a ton, it happens. It's a normal thing. So we're just going to add in a few commercial uses along here. Not many. Helicopter plus artificial pond. Ideally, that's what I would do. And I do see that we have helicopters over here. This thing's going to burn out. There's no way they put this out. And is this actually, there's 2 fire engines in use. Let's give them the big ones. Morton, thank you so much for the support. Hey, CPP, you are better than Netflix. Now I pay for you both. Win, win, win. Have a nice evening. Best regards to Norway. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. It's very generous of you. Hello from the Netherlands. Hello. Hello. Fire department at Verde Beach. I came in and wasn't disappointed. No, nope. We will always burn. The other thing I want to do, we'll just ignore this. It'll be done. They always burn out. We are going to come over here, and I added this taxi stand, but I know that we only have one taxi depot. So I was thinking the place where I think we can get away with it would be in this industrial complex. And I'm thinking right here, we could just add in a road, and then I want to add in a number of taxi stands, and we'll see how it goes. I'm hopeful. I'm not actually. I'd love for the taxi stands to actually queue up with vehicles. The only time I've ever gotten it to occur was in Nicolay Bay in that episode, and that was by the district restrictions. So I don't know that we're actually gonna be able to do that, but we'll see. I'm gonna spam some of these things, and I'm thinking we go with let's do 8, something ridiculous, and see if that does the trick for us. So I'm gonna back this out. Maybe we'll get 7, not 8, because I don't think we have the space for 8. And there'll be a lot of traffic here up front, but it'll be fine in the long run. So there we go. And I'm curious. I'm personally lagging quite a bit, and I think it's because of the stream, but I'm gonna speed this up, and I just want to see, are we gonna see some queuing over here? And then I'll answer a couple of questions before we head out, because I think that we've had a pretty good time. I've really enjoyed this. What a shame the same thing happened at the old place too. Let's see. I just subbed in this. Rekka says that she just subbed in the stream because it's 8 a.m. and you're on your day off. But am I gonna update the Verde Beach Metro anytime soon? Yeah, I've been planning on doing some sort of revision to the metro system. It's one of those funny things where we did one. It feels like it wasn't that long ago, but it's very out of date at this point. So yeah, that's something I'd like to do. City Skylines doesn't simulate climate change, but in Verde Beach, it seems it does. Yeah, Verde Beach, for as tropical as it is, it really burns a lot. Let's see. Gaming Ages. You didn't know I was streaming. Yeah. Actually, here is a question. So I was having a conversation with Yumble, and he's back to streaming on Twitch, and I guess I'm not a product of Twitch. Do you guys use Twitch, and do you find the streaming experience to be better there or not? And I'm going to go into blurry mode for a second, because I'm going to ask that as a poll, because I'm very curious. I was very close to just giving it a shot. Part of the reason I thought about it and I'm not really saying anything was I feel like my first stream had quite a few people in it because the channel had already been built up, and I wasn't sure. I guess I'd never had the experience of having a smaller stream, and I think that I could become a better streamer if I didn't have a big audience when I was streaming for a couple of times. No, I hate Twitch. Yes, go on Twitch. All right, we're gonna ask it as a poll, and so it's gonna get blurry for a second, and that's because for whatever reason it's blurring out city skylines when I ask questions. So let's see. Quick poll. Should I stream on Twitch? All right, here's the question. I will actually, whatever this comes out as, I will do it. So if the poll says, yeah, give Twitch a try, I will give Twitch a try. So I'm very curious, but I want it. There's about 1,500 of us are together right now. Woo! No's are coming out hot. If there's a yes, I will do it at least once. I'll try it out. So like, if it's a no, then I will be YouTube exclusive. So Popster says that I can do both at the same time. I agree, but I don't think that I personally have the bandwidth to respond to chat in both of them at the same time. And I think I would personally feel really bad about that. I mean, even on here, there's a lot going on and I can't see every message that's going through. So that part stinks. And I see that Matt Kelly says Twitch's rate takes a lot from creators, and that is something that is certainly a consideration. And I'll be honest, YouTube. Oh, I missed water pipes. YouTube has been awesome to me. I feel very privileged. I mean, I have a partner manager, and I have the ability to communicate with people at YouTube, and I don't take that lightly. I feel very, very, very privileged to have that opportunity, and I've had it for quite some time at this point. Basically, since I hit about 100,000 subscribers, I've had a partner manager, which has been awesome. And shout out to Dom. Love that guy. Stonecliff, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for streaming at a European friendly time. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you. This has been a good time. I think I'm going to go blurry again. I don't need to see more. We're going to end it. The poll is, should I stream on Twitch? The answer is no. So I will not, but I also will not multicast. That, to me, that's, yeah, Twitch, I could have a bigger audience on Twitch, but it's funny. I can't, so Yumble said that his audience is actually bigger on YouTube. So I think it all depends on you as a streamer yourself. It's hard to say. The reason, yeah, so Starblaze mentions Twitch would make more sense if you stream on a schedule, but it doesn't. So I would, on that note, I've been considering opening up a stream more often. So either, once a week or every other week streaming rather than having a video, that third video. The main reason for that is I've been a lot happier making 2 videos a week than 3. But I love interacting with you guys and being able to stream. Yeah, Trevor, crazy YouTube users voted YouTube over Twitch. Fair enough. So yeah, I do think that it's nice to supplement the content. And then there's things that I think are really challenging to make a video out of that are really fun to make a stream out of. I think that what we did today, I don't know that that's a super exciting video, but it's a perfectly fine time to stream and chat a bit. So yeah. William, thank you for becoming associate planner. A couple more questions. When is the next Michigan video? I am planning on that being Tuesday. So we're having Clearwater County on Saturday, and then we'll have Nicolay Bay on Tuesday. And then I'll probably have in another abandoned city following Saturday, and then Verde Beach after that. It's all tentative. Monthly streams. So that's the other thing. So that's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that, Ashley. When I talked to my partner manager, that's something we talked about is, streaming. And I thought, and he thought too, that maybe fewer streams are better, but it's hard to say. I don't want to burn you guys out on me, especially if I'm just sitting here staring at the city at night and watching it burn down and chatting. but it's always nice to have that opportunity to interact with you guys at a more personal level. Yumble hangouts on stream hangs out on stream pretty often for longer periods, which is why Twitch works better for him, and I think it would work for you. That's a good point. So the other thing that I thought about is I could on stream, if I were to go over to Twitch, do some other games that I don't really normally do. I've mentioned that I was a tester on Civ. I love Civ. I would love to have some Civ streams, some Tropico streams, and I don't know if that would work on this YouTube channel, just reasonably. So, and that's the thing I've seen in the comments a couple of times. Timberborn videos, Timberborn when. The Timberborn videos, it seems like people don't like them as much, and I post a Timberborn video, and I get a whole bunch of downvotes right away. So, the people that love them, and the people that hate that it's not City Skylines content, hate it. Ghost, thank you for the comments about the editing. I've really been getting into editing and really enjoying it, and I think it's made the videos better. The gauge for me has been, do I enjoy watching the videos more myself? And I have, as long as I edit more. So my edits have been taking probably 2 to 3 times longer than they used to, but I think the outcome is a better video. So hopefully you guys feel the same way. Mateus, my wife and I love to decompress and relax after a day of work watching your content. The Europe friendly stream is super cool. Brazilians in the Netherlands. That is awesome. That is awesome. It shows you how small the world is. It's a big world, but it's small too. People all over the place, people moving all over the place, and people connecting across continents. It's awesome. I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, I love Timberborn too. So that is the bummer. I'm seeing that in the comments. People like the Timberborn videos. Yeah, I mean, and to a certain extent, like, you know, I make content that I like to make, and at some point I've got to also balance it out with what you guys want to see. So just because I'm not making Timberborn videos doesn't mean I'm not playing. If that makes any sense. Diana, my editing is not phenomenal. Yours is. When I look at your videos and think about the amount of time some of your videos, I see videos that you have that are 10 minutes long that I know took you 10 hours to edit. And that level of detail and care into your craft, I appreciate it. It's if you're not watching Cities by Diana, you should do yourself a favor and check her out. Awesome stuff. Elias, thank you for becoming an associate planner. Appreciate that. Oh, possibly a new Civ game coming out. Is there? That's good because I don't like Civ 6. I hope it's more like Civ 5. So I was one of those crazy people that went out and bought Civ 6. I stayed up late. I got it immediately. And then I played my first game and was immediately disappointed. And I've tried every year or so, I go back and I buy all the expansions, and I just try to see if I'll like it, and I just don't. I just don't like Civ 6. I wish I did. By Diana said that's why your videos are only 10 minutes long. Yeah. Nash, thank you so much for the gifted memberships, and everyone who got one, thank them. Thank them. Matt, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for being a faithful routine and of late a calming presence during a harder time in your life. I appreciate all the hard work. Thank you so much. I hope things get better. I think there are a lot of people out there right now that are going through a lot. It's a tough time. It could be, yeah. I mean, I will readily admit that I've had really good things happen for me the last few months, but it's been a tough time for me as well. I think for the first time ever, I experienced a bout of burnout in December, and that when I took a step back from making videos, I also took a bunch of time off at work, and just had to kind of reassess a lot of different things. And I think that my situation's really good, but things can be tough. So I hope things get better for you. Gaming Ages. Do I have any idea about the colossal order? The colossal order announcement is about? I have as much idea as you. And even if I knew more, I couldn't say anything. So, Luca, thank you so much for the support. Have you been you've been following since the early days of Bluffside? Happy to see your viewership has grown. Well deserved, and keep it up. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Could I drop? Oh, that's for there's someone else. Okay. Is G2A real site to buy the game? I have no idea. I know a real place to buy the game, and that is, Nexus. I appreciate Nexus, but honestly, I just wait for a Steam sale. For all of these things, the Steam sales are so predictable, and you know what you're getting. You know it's safe. Just buy it on Steam, and do not get it on the Epic Store. Whatever you do, and don't buy it the Windows 10 version. Like just don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. So it doesn't appear that we're going to see any taxis here, which is definitely a bummer. I'm glad that we have taxis throughout town. I am curious. Let's see if we actually we'll look at our transit and see what we're 14 per week. Okay, awesome. Even though we saw, let's see. Are all of these taxis out? 25 in use at each of these. So 175 taxis are out there doing something, plus the other 25 that are over in Fiddy's district. So I believe we've got one more somewhere back here. Oh, right here. So we've got this one as well. So we've got 200 taxis on the roads and still not enough to queue. So whatever, it is what it is. I think that we're going to leave it here though. I've really enjoyed hanging out today. I appreciate all of you being here. I appreciate all the support, all the super chats, all the gifted memberships. You guys are absolutely awesome. Do I plan on pedestrianizing the beachfront? Callum, yes. Thank you for the support, by the way. Yes, I want to. So that's one of the things I want to do. I want to actually create an asset that can be used on the beach to activate the beach. And I know that I saw Overcharged Egg. I'm not sure if he made his own asset or picked one up in the workshop, but in Verde Beach, if I'm going to have a special asset, I must make it myself. So that is what I will likely do. All right. The one thing that we have to do if we're going to go out is do this the right way. So I'm going to pause this and we're going to take it out like I normally do. And that way is we're going to pop in our camera, and we worked on this area. So I'm going to zoom in nice and tight, add this here, and we'll pop out to maybe here. And let's see, one more thing I've got to do. I go into Daylight Classic and turn off the classic fog effect. And then we've got to have one specific song. So let's see if we can get this going. Everything just updated, and I'm on the PC for the first time again, doing the stream. So I think I can get this. There we go. There we go. All right. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. When I say at the end of videos that it is a privilege to be able to do this, it absolutely is. Anyone who's able to do this and be successful at it is very privileged, and I feel that very much. So thank you all so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this, please consider hitting the like button. And I can't make it happen. Let's see. Please hit the like button. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please consider doing so. Although if you're chatting, you're subscribed to the channel, because I prevented anyone who is not subscribed from doing so. So thank you so much, and I really can't wait to see you in the next one. I'll see you in a video on Saturday. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. We're not getting nighttime. But I will give you this.